Hola a todos los que nos ven desde aquel lado de la pantalla. Soy Alfredo Kendo y tengo el honor de presentarles una nueva entrevista para CriptoNoticias. En esta oportunidad vamos a tener una charla con Thomson Ma, director regional de Bitget para Latinoamérica. Hello, Mr. Thomson Ma. You're very
Hello,
welcome here.
thank you for having me.
It's an honor and a pleasure to have this opportunity. How do you feel today? How's it all going?
I'm actually on my trip to Latin America. Actually, I'm literally sitting in a beautiful city in metropolitan in Buenos Aires at the moment, and everything seems to be wonderful here.
Great. Yeah, I know that Bitget has been working really hard there. And that leads me to my first question of this interview, uh, which is which are the key markets for Bitget in Latin America and how are they distributed? Talking about users, volume.
Yeah, of course. So essentially, Latin America is one of the most important market that we can see a great potential under our global strategy. Obviously, considering the market size and the economical situation, we're definitely seeing countries like Brazil, Mexico, Argentina, and possibly Colombia as something which really need to do something deep. Currently, I think the distribution about the market itself will be quite, I think, similar to the local ones or the global leading ones at the moment. Brazil is definitely contributing a huge part, but we're seeing a huge growth in Argentina at the moment. That's one of the reasons I took the trip to here and to meeting with all the partners and the people who are in the ecosystem to see what we can do more in this market of Argentina. And then speaking of the growth of it, I think it's we've also seen a really good and fast growing in these countries that I mentioned, which we definitely believe it will be something great for Bitget in the next few years or so.
Okay, that sounds good. And it's interesting because we're talking about this in the middle of a bear market that some people say it's over already. Some people say it's soon to be over, but we don't really know until it actually happens. So if it's a positive for now, hopefully if things change in the market, probably that would be also work in favor of the growth. Another question I had for you, now that you mentioned Argentina, I understand that their current economic situation might be ideal or turns it into an ideal place for the growth of Bitcoin adoption and the adoption of different cryptocurrencies. Venezuela, for example, it's another country that went through a similar situation, and we couldn't say it's over already there. They're not actually out of it. And I would like to know if there are any plans for Bitget specifically in the future for countries like Venezuela or maybe another country like El Salvador, for example, considering its growth in Bitcoin adoption, or maybe another option you might be already have in plans for the future?
Sure. I think the vision of Bitget in general, we try to become one of the top three exchanges globally and locally in the next 3 to 5 years. Of course, in my opinion, we try to even make that accomplishment even quicker if possible, considering what's happening on the market. Definitely all the market that has the potential to grow, we are very much interested in. And for us, because we try to localize our team and product as much as possible, and for all the countries that actually will show the potential of growth, we try to provide the most suitable, localized, and reliable product and services too. And that's pretty much where we come from. And speaking of the financial or economic situation that you just mentioned in those countries, yeah, I do personally feeling about it since I've been talking to people here in Argentina, how crazy the inflation is at the moment. It's kind of forced them to be using and increased adoption of crypto, either it's Bitcoin or a stable coin. And we believe the stage at the moment for these countries are still quite early. There's a lot of things can be done in terms of education, in terms of understanding how to get into the crypto and the blockchain side of things. And we do believe that's something we can bring to the market. It's not just the service itself, but it's something we can benefit people not just from the financial situation they're in, but try to utilize crypto to the next level, like those advanced market is doing right now. And that's one of the actions we'll be taking, not just in Brazil, Argentina, but also other countries in Latin America.
Okay, good to hear that. That sounds interesting. Really good, really good. Now that you're talking about some of the plans for Bitget in Latin America, I would also like to know if Bitget sees Bitcoin with a specific adoption purpose, or does it see it just like any other cryptocurrency?
That's actually a really good and interesting question, because I believe different people will have different idea and
Exactly.
perspective on Bitcoin itself. I think currently the situation for Latin America, considering the crypto, well, specifically Bitcoin, BTC, is they have, as I mentioned, been forced to adopt it or to accept it, even without too much understand about the behind technology, or what can be more on Bitcoin or other cryptocurrency. And I think one of the beauty about the blockchain technology and Bitcoin is the authenticity that you're having on this asset. Unlike the traditional means of asset or a trading target, it's something people can be very confidently see with the transparency on the blockchain. And that's something I think in the future will bring a huge trading market to this continent because of the technology itself, considering the comparison of the traditional trading asset. And honestly, I actually just have been attended the GP exhibition, or in English they call it XP, expert exhibition, happened in Sao Paulo last week. We've been talking to a lot of traditional investment platforms that's coming from all over Latin America. We kind of share the same kind of vision, and it seems like it is something this continent, people from this continent, will be looking to it and go beyond the adoption that it's having right now, which is, I buy some Bitcoin and just hold it there to against, for example, for Argentinian, against inflation. And there's a lot of more can be achieved. And Bitget, as I mentioned, we are specialized in this industry. We understand the inside, and we have the capability of bringing more, not just the product, service, or infrastructure, but the inside and educational point of view to actually help our users in this region to achieve to that level.
Great, great. Thank you for your answer. I think it's very explicit and very clear. So, thank you. Which makes me think of technology. How is developing, or what are the goals in the technological aspect for Bitget? I mean, any kind of specific topics in technology that Bitget is focused in develop and maybe investing right now, like DeFi, NFT, security, privacy. What can you tell me about it?
Yeah, absolutely. So in general, exchanges around the world, they're providing products with a lot of similarities. What actually differentiate Bitget to a lot of other exchanges, we pretty much are the very first centralized exchange or crypto exchange that's providing like a social trading idea. And when it comes to the product technology itself, we literally introduce the copy trading to the market, which is allow people to be able to trade with more confidence and expertise by leveraging other people's, well, not just other people, but other experts' capability. That actually differentiate us a lot when it comes to making your investment in the crypto field, because otherwise trading is a risky activity without having enough research and understanding. Just like traditional markets, you're gonna bear high risk without knowing the things inside. and that's what we are helping our users to solve, and as a result to make them profit in this market. And also we try to also connect the world of centralized finance and decentralized finance at the moment. So just on the centralized platform, we have tons of products that's serving that purpose. It's like we have the mega swap, which allow you to be able to access to multiple digital asset or digital tokens. Even we're not listing them on the platform. And also something you might already know is we having our Bitget wallet. It's not launched because we acquired them this year. The original name called Bitkeep. That actually expand our range to the DeFi world or Web3 world a lot. So in a way, we try to provide the most complete experience of the blockchain and the Web3 in terms of technology and product, and people will have the options, to either just focus on the trading itself or the decentralized world on blockchain or Web3 world. That's pretty much what we're doing right now.
Excellent. And more specifically about technological aspects, I would like to talk about Lightning Network. Are there any plans for the future for adding or adopting this technology in Bitget, as other exchanges also has started to apply it and to use it?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, Lightning Network, I think it's been discussed a lot the last, I think not just month, but even years. And a lot of exchange actually, some of adopting it with its own ways, some are still observing. And frankly, I'm not really on the product team side of things. I don't have the exact plan of what they're having, but I think in general, biggest view is we try to be the most innovative platform, in the world. That's how we actually come from pretty low ranking places in the early 2020, something around that, and then becoming literally the top 5 in the world at the moment. We try to bring the most convenient and innovative product and services to the market. And if there's anything that will be beneficial to our user, and there's something the market will be needing, regardless what technology it is, we will be exploring it. And with the strong technical team that we're having right now, I literally think if we try to build something or launch something, we will be reaching to the top-notch level in the market, and people will like what we're providing.
Great. And now moving a little bit away from the technological aspect, I would like to talk also about the regulation aspect. And I would like to know, what's your opinion about the recent wave of global regulation over Bitcoin and the cryptocurrencies by the governments, and not only over the cryptocurrencies, but also like exchanges and platforms? What do you think about those facts lately?
Regulation is a topic that will be continuously discussed in the next few years, I believe. Bitget, we registered our global body in the Republic of Seychelles, which allows us to have that capability to reach out to the global market, with a legal entity. And in terms of the attitude, in my opinion, we're always open to discuss with the regulator or the governmental parties around the world, because we believe regulation is something that will benefit the market if it's being set up in the correct way. And actually, we have been seeing a lot of progression on that. Like Hong Kong is actually one of the places that's already issued a very clear regulation on it. And obviously, a lot of people actually, exchanges, in a sense, are trying to be figuring out how to actually be a part of it. And Biget's definitely not going to be missing it. And in terms of the continent itself, I think different places or regions have different situation. The progression is very much different. But as I mentioned earlier, in general, we are open. to have the conversation and essentially trying to fit ourselves into that particular market. And because the most important thing at the end of the day is we try to protect our users from any uncertainties or unnecessary uncertainties, and make ourselves as one of the most reliable partner in terms of crypto to them.
Okay, interesting. Thank you for sharing your answer. Moving a bit to I think it's the same topic, but more specifically about the central banks and this recent wave, we could say, of their intentions to come up with national cryptocurrencies, the CBDCs. What's your take about it, and your personal perspective or Bitget's perspective of this kind of currencies?
CBDC is also is a very interesting topic because a lot of innovators or innovative countries now have been trying to actually. China is one of them, already been issuing their own CBDC somewhere around 3 years ago. Brazil is actually in the discussion of launching this CBDC like more than a year ago. It's still, I think, something that's need to be observed a little bit about adoption, because at the end of the day, CBDC will be something very much utilized in terms of payment on transaction purposes, not necessarily in the investment side of things. So it will actually be, well, I think that would be more on my personal perspective. Like it would depend on how people are actually adapting to that project itself. If that's something, the population of that particular region or country accept, it would definitely work. Otherwise, it's just not just going to be a project seeing a failure at the end of the day. So if, essentially, when CBDC is creating around the world, of course, they have different kind of formats how to launch it, but eventually you need to solve the actual problem and issue for that particularly region or country. I think that would be the purpose of those kind of projects. And of course, Bitget is one of the key player and participant in the crypto and blockchain industry. We try to provide, our expertise point of view to a lot of authority parties about how they can build a CBDC. In fact, last year we were partnering with our local partner Capital in Brazil, giving out our professional perspective on how to build CBDC for the Brazilian market. So yeah, that's definitely something we would like to contribute as a company. But in terms of the result of this kind of project, well, it really depends on countries and regions.
Exactly. Yeah, that would depend. That's totally on their hands, I would say, considering that they're the issuers, and it's still a new topic, we could say. In comparison with Bitcoin, it's still a new technology. We could say there's a lot to develop there, and in matter of adoption. So imagine these newer products and instruments. Also, I would like to know your opinion about stablecoins. They became very popular in the last few years, and I think among the people sometimes feel more confident about them, but also their centralization compared to other, like to Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies, can also like project some doubts on people. So what do you think about this growth of stable coins? What could have influenced this interest?
Okay. I think to Latin America specifically, stablecoin even now is a huge thing, because first of all, they are actually facing a very um, severe economical problem at the moment in the countries like, as I mentioned, Argentina, Venezuela. I personally have observed for the last few days trying to buy two coffees with more than 2,000 peso. If you just look at the figure, it's kind of unbelievable, to be honest. And the exchange rate is all over the place in different kind of market, and regular people will find it difficult to hold the local currency, in their daily life. So it become a huge thing to them because of that fact. And also in the market, like for example, Brazil, uh, the stablecoin also become something really important because of the investment market development, and people seeing that as something they would try to get involved alongside with the traditional investment market. And the project teams like Tether, Circle, or MakerDAO, actually they all try to do something in this continent. And as far as I know, even some local public chain project team, they try to issue their own stable coin, of course, packed with USD, and try to solve the problem for the local users. I'm not going to see, I think, the decrease of the heat of this stable coin in the next few years, I believe, because of the economic fact that this continent is experiencing. But as I mentioned, it's just like any other blockchain and crypto technology. The utilization of it, I think, still in the very early stage, it's been limited by people's knowledge and comprehension about stablecoin or the technology of blockchain itself. Once the education has been increased in terms of the technology and financially, I think there's a lot of more it can be done. I would say that would be more and more players or participants going to jump into this area, and in the future, we probably wouldn't just see USD pegged stablecoin, but packed with other like fiat. For example, could be with BRL if the exchange rate is stable enough, or other currencies that actually have a good foundation.
Exactly. Okay. Thank you for your answer. That made me think. You mentioned something about like the importance of people getting familiarized with the technology, and there's still a huge bridge to build to connect this related to education and of course getting familiarized with it. Yeah, just using it. Um, Considering that, I would like to know your opinion about this matter of taking care of your crypto and not only the adoption but also like keeping them like on your own or in a third party platform. How do you see this? Because it both have pros and cons. Maybe having it in your own wallet when you keep your own keys is the ideal part of the vision of Satoshi, but also some people say that like people in general are not ready for this, or most of the people are not ready for this, and I would like to know your opinion about this very polemic topic. I would say some people can get into a serious arguing about this.
Yes, I actually like the question itself because it has also different kind of point of view by different people. In my opinion, of course, that the in this in the crypto section, people say not your key, not your crypto, or not your key, not your token. But as you mentioned, Alfredo, we're still in early stage understanding about this technology. If we let everyone to be responsible solely for their own crypto, no matter it is on a digital wallet or with a cold wallet like a ledger, they might be facing issues without having a good and complete solution to resolve potential issues, which means they might be facing loss of their assets and without a backup plan to recover it. I think that's one of the reasons the centralized exchange and centralized platform are still very important at this stage. It's going to be important for quite a while in the future, I believe. And essentially, platform like Bitget, we try to get into the market, as I mentioned, not just to provide the service of trading or investment based on crypto, but also letting people have the confidence and ease of nerve by putting the asset on us. And in fact, after the accident or the FTX issue, we actually been we have launched the protection fund, pretty much let people to understand putting their digital fund on us is actually safe. It's actually very transparent. People can see with the technology of Merkle tree. They all the asset they're having on us is traceable. As I mentioned earlier on with the BTC technology or BTC chain, the beauty of the crypto is if it's on chain, it's actually transparent as long as the technology is there. And if we can thinking and make people understand, that's the way they can do it also without worry about losing your asset. I think that will be the situation that's going to be lasting in the near future, and we are very very confident that we will be one of the key platform player that can provide that kind of strong accent. In fact, if you go through the announcement of publishing of different exchanges on a monthly basis about their um, reserve ratio, Bitget is always at the top level. It's always at top level, no matter which one you're comparing to. That's why we can confidently say that people can trust us with their asset, and we will serve with our, at the best level, pretty much.
Okay, thank you for your answer. It's very useful. Um, well, I guess I would like to know before we end the interview, any kind of advice you could give our audience related to the usage of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, exchanges, which play a very important part in this ecosystem, and yeah, many kind of like words you would like to share with the audience.
Yeah, sure. Actually, I've been traveling for the last couple of weeks from all the way from Brazil to Argentina by talking to people locally about their understanding and comprehension about the technology of blockchain itself and the crypto. I think this is going to be the future for the continent, for the countries like Argentina, Brazil, and other key countries. Actually, all the countries that might be involved in this field. Before you're actually entering to this section, it's always good to do enough research with a reliable source of information. I think that's why, as I mentioned earlier, we try to be one of those reliable source that's providing a good and a deep understanding and point of view regarding blockchain, regarding crypto investment, so people understand what they're doing. And once you have that knowledge and understanding, partnering with a reliable platform or partner, that's how you can start your crypto trip. And essentially, that's what one of the key as a mission that's for us to become one of those kind of reliable partner for all the local audiences. And I think this will be continuing. You will see more on Bitget in the future in Latin America, keep providing innovative products and reliable services. And we're also very looking forward to seeing what's going to be happening between us and Latin America in the future.
Sure, sure. Well, Mr. Thomson Ma, thank you very much for sharing with us today, for giving us the honor to interview and talking about this very interesting topics in the ecosystems.
Muchas gracias.
Oh, gracias a ti. Thank you very much, Thomson. It was a pleasure. Thank you for sharing and giving us a chance to have this interesting conversation. Bueno, muchísimas gracias, audiencia. Esta fue nuestra entrevista con Thomson Ma de Bitget. Les estamos muy agradecidos por habernos acompañado en esta oportunidad y esperamos que si quieren enterarse sobre todo lo que está sucediendo ahorita en el ecosistema de las criptomonedas, no duden en entrar a nuestro sitio web, CriptoNoticias.com. Síganos en nuestras redes sociales, que también pueden ver en la descripción del video. Y no olviden dar su like, pisar su botoncito de like por ahí, activar la campanita de notificaciones para que no se pierdan el contenido que seguimos compartiendo día a día con ustedes. Muchísimas gracias por acompañarnos. Yo soy Alfredo Kendo y espero que nos veamos en una próxima oportunidad. Hasta la próxima.